Hi, this is Taylor, you're watching Pets in a Pod, and today we're going to be reviewing Petco's Leopard Gecko care sheet. Hey peas, it's me Taylor, and I'm here with Amoeba because today we will be reviewing Petco's Leopard Gecko care sheet. So I'm going to stick her on my shoulder and we'll try and have her out as long as we can. So last time I went to Petco, I had to get some stuff for the rabbit, but while I was there, I went and got care sheets because I noticed a couple other YouTubers have been doing this, and I figured why not me as well. So the first thing I want to say is that I did already go through this. This is not like a blind reading of this care sheet, but I will be telling you exactly my thoughts when I first read this. So starting with the front cover, you can see that they have a picture of a leopard gecko there, but this is a juvenile leopard gecko, and I guess this is good because Petco sells young leopard geckos. Most people buy them as babies, and so if they're looking for a care guide, they'll probably look for that. But I don't know, I just kind of didn't like it so much because this is not an example of what an adult leopard gecko looks like. This is not what you'll get as the outcome. Also, babies tend to have kind of skinny tails, and this one definitely has a really thin tail. And again, I just don't want people to take that as an example of what's to come. I had to put Amoeba away. Anyway, that's just my initial thoughts. So going down on the front, they have some basic facts, which I think is kind of good. It gives people a basic rundown of like what to expect from this animal. So I think this is a good idea. And the facts seem okay. The average adult size, 4 to 9 inches, correct. Average lifespan, up to 20 years, correct. Sometimes maybe more. Diet, insectivore, also correct. So all of these things were fine and good. The front, my only issue really was the picture. On the inside, we have tons of information. So let's just go through this. First, we have the diet. It says that leopard geckos need a well-balanced diet consisting of insects, including crickets, mealworms, waxworms, and that you should use recently fed crickets no larger than the space between the gecko's eyes. Perfect. Knocked it out of the park. And this is actually overall, this care sheet's not that bad. Honestly, it's just some little nitpicky things. So diet, hit it on the nose. Perfect. The leopard geckos can't eat things bigger than the space between their eyes, but I think for new owners who would be picking up a care sheet like this, it's a good place to start. It just causes less problems, and it's a safer way to feed if you're feeding a bit smaller. And the foods they listed were perfect as well, and I like that they listed live insects too. But then as far as the feeding schedule goes, it says to give them fresh, clean chlorine water, perfect. Feed juveniles and adults daily. This is a care thing. So this will differ between person to person. Juveniles you can feed daily, a lot of people do. I feed every other day for juveniles, and for adults I feed 3 to 4 times a week. So leopard geckos in the wild are not going to be eating literally every single day, big full meals every day. And this is why you see a lot of fat reptiles. People feed like full meals every day, and that's just not natural. And along with that, then it's not healthy. So you're not giving them time in between to fully digest and metabolize the food they're getting, as well as they're also not, that's what's bulking them up in fat, and then that's unhealthy, and that causes other subsequent problems. So for me, I feed my adult leopard gecko, like I said, 3 to 4 times a week. Here's maybe the biggest part, the biggest problem. The biggest problem is housing. It's always housing. First, they said size, appropriately sized habitat, but they don't say what that means, and I think that's the problem, because this is appropriately sized habitat, but then you get into the store and many workers have been told by the company to give 20 gallon or even 10 gallon, and leopard geckos need at least a 40 breeder size. They really need a lot more room than a lot of people account for. 20 long aquarium at the minimum, like the bare minimum, and even that's not very satisfying. So the fact that they just don't indicate that, it leaves a lot of room for misinterpretation, because people will see pictures on products and that's what they'll pick up, and often those are things like 10-gallon kits, and they are no way perfect. Then they said that the habitat, you need to provide hiding areas with plants, branches, logs, and cork, and to keep hiding areas away from a heat source, and keep the humidity below 50%. I love that they mentioned cork bark. Cork is a perfect thing, and I think that's a new discovery a lot of big companies are making, so I'm glad that they're saying that these animals can have cork, but I don't think you should keep it away from the heat source. As you guys know, with leopard geckos, you do need a humid hide, a cool hide, and a warm hide, and if you keep all your hides away from like a basking area or a heat pad, they're not going to have a warm hide, and they're not going to basically have an area that's safe where they can warm up, and especially that's helpful in digesting food. So there's that. They also then go to say substrate, to use forest bedding, calci sand, or terrarium carpet. Never, ever, ever, ever buy your animal calci sand or calcium sand or reptisand. Just don't buy it. Leopard, you can do the carpet thing, that's a personal choice. I don't like it, there are reasons we shouldn't go into that, but forest bedding, like forest floor, is actually more on the right track. Leopard geckos, if you're going to do a loose soil substrate, it should be like a natural organic potting soil mixed with play sand, and that's perfect. You can do like a 50-50 mixture. That's what I use for amoeba. Skipping ahead, because I don't want to make the video too long, we're going to go ahead and move into the lighting area, and they just said arid geckos will need UVB lighting if they are not nocturnal. And as we all know, leopard geckos are labeled nocturnal, but I still believe they should have UVB lighting, and every single one of my reptiles has UV lighting, whether they're nocturnal or not. All reptiles should have UVB lighting. Not only does it help with the daylight cycle, but it also, they use it. They really do use it. So I would still push for UVB, and it's also just good practice. I know why they're saying that, but we shouldn't be pushing bare minimum care is the thing, and that was bare minimum care advice. After that, it says in bold, do not house males together and do not house different reptile species together. Thank you, Petco, for not pushing cohabitation, even though you do it in your own selling tanks, but I understand that's temporary and a normal practice in many pet stores, not just a Petco. But I like that when, just because you see them together in a store, it doesn't mean you can have them together at home. So not pushing cohabiting between species, but it does say don't house males together, and I wish it would just say don't house any reptiles together. Leopard geckos are a singular species. People might come for me in the comments. I know there's people who cohab and they say they're happy and all that. Again, the person who's picking up this care guide is someone who is new to animals and to leopard geckos. They are not an expert, therefore they should not be playing with the risks of cohabitation. That's my point on it. Moving on to habitat maintenance, it's saying to thoroughly clean and disinfect the habitat once a week and to use a bleach solution. You don't have to use bleach to clean your animal cages. In fact, if you set them at bioactive, you don't have to clean them at all. The only thing I do is, because leopard geckos tend to poop in one corner, when that corner kind of builds up, I clean it out. But if you have a bioactive setup, which means including like a cleanup crew of insects and naturalistic soils and live plants, you're going to create a natural ecosystem anyway, and feces and other sheds and stuff like that and wasted food is going to cycle and break down on its own, and you don't have to clean it. The reason you would clean something is if you're keeping like repticarpet or tile. Anything non-bioactive you are going to have to clean. But even if you are cleaning, you don't have to use a bleach solution. Vinegar and water is fine, or buying a reptile safe cleaning product. And then in the back they have a shopping list. So let's go through the shopping list. They list appropriate sized habitat. We already talked about that being an issue. It's too vague. They should say 40-gallon breeder or give the dimensions or bigger. Then it says by substrate. Again, I guess that's a personal choice, but they should really give the right suggestion. We should not be doing bare minimum care. If they suggested repticarpet on the inside, and then now on their checklist people are going to buy repticarpet, and that's usually what comes in kits, and that's not what we should be using. Moss is good, water dish is good, mealworm dish is good, hideaway place is good, but I'd say at least 3 or something like that, multiple hideaway places. Plants, yes. Heat light, yes. Heat fixture, yes. Under tank heater, and they do say optional, which I like because they also list heat light, and that's the necessary one. So I would say if you have a heat lamp and you're doing a basking area, you don't need the under tank heater. Vitamin supplement, calcium supplement, cricket keeper, cricket food, cricket quencher. Like, they even have the setup for the crickets, which I really like. Thermometer, humidity gauge. I wish though they would sell proper thermometer and humidity gauges. They still sell those like little cheap dial things that don't even work. I wish they would sell the digital ones that I keep here, and I'll link them in the description if you're looking for a good humidity temperature gauge. Because it's listed, people are gonna buy the wrong thing because they sell the wrong thing. And then it says a book about arid geckos, which I like because they're basically saying this pamphlet's not enough. Go buy a book. Now whether the book is good or not, I don't know, because I don't know what books Petco sells and I don't know what books people end up buying, but at least they're basically encouraging more research, and that's what I like. They're saying this is not enough, buy a book. People might not agree with me, but this actually was not as bad as I was expecting. Compared to the care that you actually see in a lot of the stores, the pamphlet itself is not bad. I'd say 7 out of 10. It gives a very good overview, a very good gist. A lot of this is correct now. It's just, like I said, either too generalized in some areas or there's a couple big no-nos, like the calci sand was a little upsetting to still see in there. But yeah, 7 out of 10. It's a good general overview, and the fact that they encourage to buy a book probably puts it at that 7, because it's saying, you know, this isn't it, keep going. And that's what we should really be encouraging, is more research of people. This is not something you can quickly buy on a whim and take home and set it up and think it'll be perfect. People return pets too many times because they don't do the research first, and this encourages that research. So 7 out of 10. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And if you like videos like this, I did pick up a blue-tongued skink care sheet, so we can go over that one as well too. Let me know if you're interested, as well as I do post videos every Friday. So if you want to see more and you want to see that blue-tongued skink review, stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.